Hello there. Hey now. Welcome to Brain Candy Podcast, episode 741. I'm Susan Marie Meister Louise Butler.
Wow, this is like back in the day intros. Sarah, Louise, Whitney, Rice.
How are you?
I have to have a child and just name it Louise. What if I name my baby Louise?
That would be great. I feel like, would you hyphenate or it would be like one word?
Louise L. Rice.
Please do it. Are you pregnant? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, I'm definitely not. And to be perfectly honest, that is probably out of the question because your girl got officially diagnosed with endometriosis, something that I've been saying or people have been suspecting for years. But yeah, all the lady parts are filled with a whole bunch of stuff down there. So they are going to take care of that, though. And finally, there was like enough. It's really shitty how hard women have to fight for and advocate for their own health care.
It's
endometriosis
exhausting.
is like, we need so much more research on this. 1 in 10 women experience this. It's responsible for 50% of infertility. And
what is it? Is it fibroids? Did I make that up?
It's where it's an inflammatory disease, inflammatory condition where the tissue that is released during menses is builds up in different areas of the body. So it's almost like the cells don't know where to grow. And it's still, we don't have enough research on it to really know how to treat it.
Only women get it.
And so I got diagnosed, and then they're like, we're going to have to put you on hormones, because that's what you really do is you try to suppress the growth of this tissue by suppressing the hormones that would cause you to grow this tissue.
Yeah.
And that I don't want that. That is not really a good plan for me, and I don't want that, and didn't want to be on hormones. So I'm like, I got to look and find another option. And so I start doing some research on this and looking up, what is available. And there's only one kind of surgery that actually treats this in a way that doesn't have more complications and is I don't know how it's supposed to be done. It's called extraction surgery, and I through this website that gives information on endometriosis, is like a nonprofit that connects people with providers. There are only 58 endometriosis specialists in the entire country.
No.
That's it. For something that affects 1 in 10 women. 58 in the whole country?
That's shocking.
I am so lucky that one of them happens to be in Boulder. And Ann takes my insurance, and I reached out and I contacted them, and they had a cancellation, and I got an appointment 2 days later. And I came in there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is definitely it. I'm scheduled to have surgery in January."
Well, that's great. I'm sure that
so
it's stressful.
The whole answer is that that has been a big impact. That really impacts fertility, and until that's taken care of, that's going to be something that'll be really difficult. And it's kind of
it's extremely layered.
It's so layered.
Yeah.
And the most annoying part is, they told me that because this is an inflammatory condition, and you're going to be best on a diet. It's going to be really helpful to be on a diet of no dairy and no gluten.
Stop it.
Basically, everything that food sensitivity test told me I wasn't supposed to have, I'm not supposed to have. And now it's 4 doctors who have told me I shouldn't do that. So now I think I actually have to do that and be serious about it. Because I can't be
God.
oh, everything's awful and so complaining, and then just chowing down cheese and bread.
I'm glad you finally got someone to listen to you, though.
Yeah. And we're going to have it all taken out.
Oh, my God. For real? All taken out.
Well,
all the bad stuff.
As much as they can.
As much as they need
with
to.
the little robot.
All right. Well, that's stressful, but I know that you're not alone, and everyone's going to write and be like, you're we got you. Here's what you should do.
Yeah. Nobody else is alone out there. I'm very grateful.
Okay. First on my agenda, essential viewing.
Oh.
Max.
Okay.
That's where it's streaming. It's called the Telemarketers.
Oh, I saw a preview for this. Look, I got to get notes. Where's my pen? I got to write this shit down.
Sarah's going to go get her pen. And in the meantime, let me tell you.
Telemarketers.
The concept is that this is a documentary about a telemarketing company that sort of revolutionized the industry and made telemarketing what it is today. Mm-hmm. It's called Civic Development Group, I think. And it takes place in the early 2000s. And this guy worked there, and he was like, I have to film on my camcorder because nobody will believe this. The business model of CDG is that firefighters and police, whatever they're called, police, what are they called? What is a collective noun for
police officers?
Well, I guess so, but don't they have
police. Like firefighters? Police? What do you... The law enforcement?
You know how when you're a firefighter, it's like Station 9.
Oh, police station.
Okay, whatever. Police station.
Unit. I don't know.
Yeah, unit maybe, whatever. Okay. All these units or whatever. Yeah. They fundraise. And so this company would go to these groups and they'd say, how much do you fundraise in a year? And the police would say, $150,000. And then this company said, okay, well, we'll give you a check for $300,000 and you give us the right to fundraise on behalf of you. And we keep everything, but you get double what you normally get.
And so they're calling pretending to be the firefighters union or saying, whatever. Like,
yes, that there were 600 killed in the line of duty. We want to support their families. Can we count on you?
I've gotten this phone call.
Yes. And then you get a little sticker that says like Fraternal Order of Police, and you put it in the back of your car. And these guys are becoming billionaires, like the head guys.
What?
By this business. And so they paid their employees $10 an hour, no commission, to make these phone calls. But you'd say, well, why would they do it if there's no commission? Because it was lawless. They would do drugs. They would get drunk. It was like this one black lady in the film was like, why did I work there? Because it was like a barbecue every day. And they were like disco balls, music, whatever.
I want to see this. This is crazy.
And as crazy as you're imagining, it was crazier.
Okay, I love it.
And like these guys were coming from like halfway houses in prison and then fundraising for the police.
Oh, I swear. Truth is so much stranger than anything you could make up.
Yeah, it is wild. And, well, the darker part is just like who the guys are that are making all the money and what they're doing with their info they're getting from all these people.
Oh, shit.
Because it was crazy. Like, they said they had a book, you know how they do of like rebuttals. So if you say like, no, I can't afford it or whatever your excuse was why you couldn't pay, they would have a rebuttal. So they'd be like, my mom just died. And they'd be like, we have a rebuttal for that. No matter what, they could get people to give money. And they said how... there are certain people that just love the police so much that they didn't even care if you were a good salesperson or not. They were just like, yeah, sure, put me down. Yeah. Like, because they think it's this noble cause of like, we're helping our brothers.
Yeah.
It's wild.
What a scam.
What a scam. And it was about 10% that would go to the actual organizations. 90% went to these rich guys. You would die.
What year was this happening?
It looked like it started in 2003.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then they sort of changed the whole market of how, what these leads come from. So like who you're calling, how you get the list, then how you get them to give money. Because who would have, it's a brilliant business model.
Right.
But who would have ever thought about it?
I am loving these shows that are coming out that are shining a light on the greed and the big business. I just watched Painkiller, the one about the opioid epidemic.
Yeah. Was it good? I heard it was good.
So good. So
Yeah.
good that I spent, Eli and I will watch like one episode a night. And then I'll be like excited to come home at the end of the day to start watching the next one.
See, that's a great feeling.
It was like, oh God, I got to know what happens next. It was so well acted, so good. And then the one I watched last night was the Blackberry one.
I do not know this one.
Oh my God. Same time frame. Wild. Like, and what people were doing behind the scenes and just shady deals. And
I love it.
yeah,
Expose them.
Expose them, right? And then I think about that, and then what we talked about with power and how it affects the brain the same way brain damage does. And all this makes sense.
I'll tell you what else makes sense, and that is getting cat food that does not stink to high heaven.
Oh, gosh. Even when you talk about it. It's like, why would anybody want anything else?
Right, and we didn't, and that's why my cats were all sad eating this disgusting dry kibble just because I didn't want to smell wet cat food. But now I have Smalls, and they're happy, and I'm happy because this stuff is human-grade food that they cannot get enough of. It's like meow, 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 meow around here all the time. Give me my food, lady. And the funny thing is, I swear it made my one cat more like into me, like loving.
I bet that I believe that.
I swear she's like, let me give you a little snuggle.
But please, didn't you have one grandparent who gave you like good treats and one who was like, you have to eat this healthy food? And you're like,
Right.
oh, I like grandma with the candy way better.
That's what it's like. I'm like, everybody's happy. Everybody wins in this scenario. I mean, I don't know what it tastes like because I never tried it, but apparently it's great because Ethel and Lava can't get enough. It's the food I give to my cat, so if you want to give it a try, head to smalls.com/braincandy and use promo code braincandy at checkout for 50% off your first order plus free shipping. It's the best offer you'll find, plus you have to use our code braincandy for 50% off your first order. One last time, that's promo code braincandy for 50% off your first order plus free shipping.
Yeah. Stock up, man.
Okay, I got to watch those two, Painkiller and Blackberry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then you got to watch Telemarketers because
Yeah, I want to see that.
what a crazy scenario.
It's a wild time.
Oh, okay. Well, this is a little dark, but we can work with it.
That's fine.
There was an article in The Atlantic about, I think it was called The Dark Side of CPR. CPR.
Yeah.
And how it's like an open secret that, number one, it doesn't work.
Correct. And you do more damage sometimes in the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how
Most of the time it's not even necessary. Like, people don't use it correctly.
And even if you do it correctly, in the hospital, of all the people they give CPR to, only 15% are actually saved from it. And then they only last like a little, I think 2 months.
Oh, God.
I mean, not that wouldn't be maybe worth it if you're one of the 15%.
Right. My brother was a lifeguard, and he did save a baby with CPR.
Well, see, that's what they said in the article, that there are certain scenarios that
And
it is meant for.
It's meant for drowning and choking.
If the victim is young, healthy, and just has some sort of incident, like that guy that had the cardiac arrest on the football field a year or two ago. He's healthy, he's an athlete, he's young, he just got hit in the wrong way and it stopped his heart. Or a baby who has some sort of incident in a pool, perfect candidate. All these disgusting, like, COVID people, they were doing all the CPR and all those people, and it would get all the COVID everywhere. And then 0% of them were saved from CPR. Yeah. But the reason that they had to do it is because TV and movies have taught the public that it's like this, magic thing.
Like you're not trying if you don't do it.
if you didn't do it, they would think you were negligent or you didn't care. And so
I want to ask my brother about this.
Yeah. I wonder, well, I'm sure he's having to do it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
But I wonder if he has that sense that it's like, this is all for show. It's a kind of a charade.
Yeah. Because they have the machine, they have those pump things that do it. But I know that there's some rule about, like, when you start, you, like, stay with the person who... All I know is I remember him telling... This wasn't CPR, though. It was different. But he, like, manually pumped a woman's heart.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the whole routine.
Saw a doctor, like, manually, like, stick his hand into a, like, chest cavity and manually pump this woman. She didn't live either, so...
Right. Yeah. Well, and it's like... So, you know, when you do your living will or your estate planning, as Adam and I did, but I don't want to talk about it.
That video. Oh, God.
When you do that, of course, you have all these choices, BBB. And like, you have this sense of like, this is going to help. But they really should educate the public that in most cases, like you said, it's violent. It's like being assaulted. They usually break a rib.
Yeah. Like, they break it. Like, drowning. That's like it.
But they said that whenever some people have this in their living will, that they want, no matter what, they want it all, that like the doctors, like if they know you're a goner, they'll be like kind of like phoning it in. For real. Like they have like different versions of it. Where let me see what it was called in my notes. It was like they had a name for it.
Performative CPR.
Well, they said that
performative medicine. Okay.
When they fake it, they call it the Burger King. It's like, have it your way. We'll do it.
Oh, God.
Can you believe? I mean, that part's like cruel, but I get why they feel like this.
I get it too. And also doctors have to make jokes like that because they're dealing with life and death every single fucking day. You cannot blame any sort of humor. Like,
I don't know why they're not spreading the word though.
I blame television shows and I think this is that. This is like, because it looks good. It looks dramatic. It looks
like they just spit up a little bit and then they're fine and they go back to work or whatever.
That like looks good on TV, but it's not what it's really like.
Yeah. So that was really interesting and well written. That was in the Atlantic. And that was very educational for me because I suppose
I'm not going to not try it. If somebody in front of me is like,
well, that's the thing. How are you to know which is the perfect scenario? But let's just talk about if they're in the hospital already.
Yeah,
with a terminal illness, which is a lot of these cases. Everyone knows that they are sick and dying very soon. And yet their families say if they flatline,
CPR.
Yeah.
Cardiac pulmonary resuscitation.
Yes, that sounds right.
So heart and breathing to bring the person back to life.
And they do those paddles.
Does that count as CPR or is that different, the paddles?
It's a part of the whole routine. They consider it the same.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're using those paddles and
God. It is kind of fucked up God. I mean, it's fucked up on both sides, but you think about like the doctors who do have to like go through that, like, okay,
song
here
and
we
dance.
go. Yeah. For somebody that they know, it feels like that's kind of, I don't know what the right answer is.
I know. But that's why education is so important. Because I think if people knew this is really not for a terminal patient. Because here's what the article did. It made the argument that if you have a terminal illness and then you flatline, you could have a peaceful departure from Earth or violent, chaotic, painful, physically painful one. Maybe you would choose the peaceful exit.
And in a situation where it's a terminal illness, you've been in the hospital for a long time,
And
that
they're
is
weak.
like the heart giving up. Like it stops beating and the lungs like they can't do it anymore. Versus a situation where a kid goes into cardiac and it's like a normal heart that would otherwise be maybe healthy that needs to just be like fucking like shocked back into working regular again. Not when it's been, drained and worn down and doesn't have anything left. Like,
Yeah, you're expiring. And
the
doctors all know it, but they feel
sad and scary.
Yeah. So
both
I know that
sides.
it's complicated, and I totally understand why you would want every effort to be made for your loved one or yourself or whatever. I totally get it. But maybe if you knew more, you might make a different choice.
And that's got to be part of the grief cycle too. There's like that bartering that's happening. Of like, no, like, or you're just like going to this panic, and it's like, do more.
Well, because you think,
trying.
well, I want to know I did everything.
Yeah.
Or the doctors did everything.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was very educational.
Interesting. Good article. Important read.
Yeah, it really was. I'll tell you what else is important, and that is smelling good.
Definitely
And now
important.
we do, thanks to Lumi, D.O. for the B.O.
I am sick and tired of being labeled the stinky one.
Who is labeled?
Every guy I've ever dated, every partner I've
They
ever
said
had,
you're
they're always like,
stinky?
you're definitely the smelly one. Because I forget to wear deodorant. But now, I have not been called that in a very long time because I have the power of magical little odor-eating
Magic bacteria
things.
Something. Killers.
Yes.
Yes.
In my Lumi deodorant.
Yes. And it's incredible. They have 150,000 5-star reviews. So listen, you don't have to just believe us. You can
150,001.
Numbers don't lie.
From me.
I always like to say, as Sarah reminds me, it's not just for under your arms, it's for wherever on your body is stinky.
Right.
They have wipes, they have cream. You could put it on your feet, in between your thighs, under your boobs, wherever.
Right, all of those balls.
Oh my gosh, please put it on
Please.
your balls, you fellas. It's aluminum free, which I love, baking soda free, and paraben free. These are very important to me these days. They have a deal. Here's what it is. I have had a lot of people asking me for the code, so I want to make sure you have it. As a special offer for listeners, new customers get $5 off a Lumi starter pack with code BRAINCANDY5 at LumiDeodorant.com. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack when you visit LumiDeodorant.com and use code BRAINCANDY5.
Yes.
All right. Moving on.
You won't be stinky.
Yeah, who needs it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's always me that smells. Not now, though. Toasted coconut, man. The best.
Yeah, you're okay now. Okay, how about we talk about... Well, you know how I love uncontacted people?
Yes, I do know this. Yes.
So in, indigenous
Man, we would
communities...
be so good at the newlywed game. They'd be like, say the most random shit. What does Susie love more than anything? Uncontacted people! And also
or
sitting.
baths. Also sitting. That is true. That she's not wrong. Okay, so indigenous peoples around the world, most of them are just doing their own thing. We know about them. But then there's these certain groups that are very elusive. They are considered uncontacted because a lot of them live in the Brazilian rainforest, and it's so dense and so unexplored that for a long time I feel like we didn't know a lot of them even existed. But over time we have learned more about them, and we've actually learned their language. From some of them have left and then learned Portuguese, as I am. And so then they can report things about the tribes. Okay, so there are these 3 guys in the Amazon who were a part of a tribe that used to be a normal size, but then it dwindled down to just these 3 people, and now it's only 2 fellas. And they've been tracking them since the 80s, but have never really gotten a hold of them or kind of made enough contact to develop any kind of meaningful relationship or to learn, like, basically they want to help them procreate so that the
to
tribe
not die off.
Yeah. So, anthropologists and stuff try to make headway so that they can continue the tribe, whatever. I don't even know if that is ethical or whatever, but that's what happens.
Yeah.
And so that recently the one guy made an appearance in front of government agents and New York Times journalists.
Did he have a big ring on his lip? In his lip?
I didn't see that.
And he was talking about the importance of climate change? Or of like not...
No. He doesn't speak English or
No, he
Portuguese.
definitely didn't speak. He was speaking in his own language.
Oh, it's like, Sarah, that was just some guy.
No.
Oh, okay. Maybe, but I don't think so.
Or it might be a different one. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe, though. But, okay, so the last time they saw this guy was when he and his other friend walked up to the government base asking for them to light their torch. And guess what? That light has been maintained since then. This was in
my God.
What year it said?
It would definitely win the show alone.
1998, I think it said.
Whoa!
And they maintain this fire. I guess it's a real pain in the ass to get one because
I bet.
They're like, we are not letting this go out.
Yeah.
So years and years and years, they're maintaining that same freaking torch. And when it rains, they wrap it in banana leaves and stuff like this. I know nothing. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anywho.
They've got to keep the ember going.
Yeah. Keeping it cooking.
I'm with you.
There. So anyway, the one of them made an appearance with the journalist and he was real friendly. He was smiling, which frankly, I can't believe they smile. Every picture I've seen, they are pissed. They are look at all these fucking white people ruining everything. Okay. So back up to one of the ladies that was in one of the tribes but then left, she was saying that these people thought that modern technology had been gifted to us from a deity and that white people went up in airplanes to go get it.
Oh, well, that's a good theory.
Right. This is what we sound like when we talk about aliens and Lake Erie and all that. Yeah. We're like, they probably needed fresh water. And they're probably like, these idiots. Yeah. So they thought, hey, these guys are going up into the clouds. They must be retrieving cool stuff from God, which I wish we were.
Yeah. But we're barely getting peanuts up there. We're actually getting peanuts.
We're getting less than that. Yeah. We're getting in fights, and it's embarrassing. Okay. So anyway, he was smiling, and he was grabbing hands and tugging on their beards. And he had started wearing clothes because he had seen humans long enough where he was picking up shirts from the forest or whatever.
Okay.
And, okay. He refused their request to answer questions about his family because they had an interpreter.
Oh, yeah.
And, okay, he was like, leave me alone. I don't want to be, stop bothering me. But get this. So there's this big lawsuit brewing because the Brazilian government is preserving a huge swath of land just for these two guys. And all these rich people are like, fuck that. They do not need all that land. And it is ours.
Oh
and they don't even live there anymore. And they said, and by the way, they're not even uncontacted anymore. One of them went to the hospital for a blood clot. So here's the scoop. Apparently, the one guy couldn't walk anymore because he had a blood clot, but he didn't know why. He just couldn't figure out why he couldn't walk anymore. Right. So the white people took him to the hospital. They made hammocks for him and his friend so they didn't have to sleep on the beds because they only like hammocks. And
at the hospital?
Yeah, at the hospital, which I mean, they're lucky because I have not had any luck getting any of my requests when I've been in the hospital. But anyway, so he got treatment for the blood clot, but the whole time he was like, get me the fuck out of here. I hate it here. They tried to pee in the airport, like just whip their dicks out and go. 'Cause, I mean, of course.
Right, of course. Right. It's like.
So in the lawsuit, they're saying like, why are you treating them like they're so like exotic when they're going to Cedar Sinai or whatever to get medical treatment? And anyway, one of them's missing and they're trying to find him now because he's the one that can still get the old babies going. And they're basically being like, hey, does anyone want to bang this guy? Because it's considered a legit member of the tribe, even if it's a half.
Yeah.
So they're like, no, all the ladies just want to stare at their phones. Nobody wants to bang this. Oh, I am dead serious. It said this. This is New York Times.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Would you do it? I mean, if you didn't
bang him, no. But like, I mean.
Well, to preserve an entire indigenous lineage, Sarah.
Well, I mean, if you put it like that, I mean. I'm already struggling to have children enough as it is. You think you have to throw that
stop
into the
rubbing
mix?
it in.
Right. Huh.
I feel like somebody would.
Definitely. For sure. If somebody's going on like a one-way trip to Mars or whatever, like, you know, willing to do that, they can't be willing to like carry on the not species, you know, what do you call it? Culture. Like the
I mean, okay, here's the
genetic
rub,
lineage. That's the word I was looking for. But I wonder about the land.
Okay.
What's your feeling on that?
That was what my takeaway from the article was. I think this argument gets too black and white, where it's like, of course we want to preserve their land. We took it from them. We're the colonists or whatever. Mm-hmm. And we're encroaching on their use. And then the other side is like, there's only two guys. And I was going to say before, there's an asterisk because the guy that was smiling and being all friendly, we found out from the lady that defected, he murdered her kids.
Oh, what?
And they were his sister's kids.
So, like, maybe,
you know,
we don't.
Because listen, sociopaths exist in other cultures.
Yeah,
we love to idealize this exotic other, right? Like we must preserve it, and then it's like he sounds like a real dick.
Yeah, but I feel like maybe we could get it's like a two birds, one stone kind of situation if we say, like let's preserve this area for.
Just don't log it. How about that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it serves the purpose of we get to protect the rainforest and also these guys can stay there. But like, let's not. What I feel like who's arguing that we should for like what else we should do with this land? Like Coca-Cola and like I don't know, somebody wants to build a hotel? No.
And maybe we could say you're not allowed to sell it.
Yeah.
Because these are just private individuals that inherited it.
Oh,
So back in the day, Brazil sold off these huge areas like for virtually nothing, and they were like, "Yeah, get rubber. We want the economy." Blah blah blah. They were like encouraging people to buy it. So then one of these owners died and gave it to his kids, but then they weren't allowed to use it because the government preserved it. Part of it.
Fuck those kids.
I know. Nepo babies. No, thank you.
Right. You're going to have to go into modeling like the rest of them. Okay.
Right. That's what the thing was in this article. I was like, I don't really like anyone in this story.
Right. No.
But it's totally fascinating. Huh. And I love picturing them at the hospital. And they really didn't even know why they were there or that this was supposedly going to help him walk again. But now he hangs out. I swear to God, one of them hangs out by the government base and the government guys just shoot birds and give it to him and he eats those. Like, I feel like this guy's really kind of backsliding.
Yeah. Treading the line.
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely can't call yourself uncontacted anymore.
They've been contacted.
They've been contacted.
But what a wacky scenario. And there really is like no right answer,
Right.
which is why
There
I
really
think it's
isn't.
messy.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what is the right answer, and that is getting pet insurance.
You know, I love this.
We love it.
Oh, man. That is the thing where you know when you won't love it when you don't have it and your pet goes into the hospital with something and you're like, fuck, why didn't I do that earlier? And now I have to pay a bajillion, trillion, $1 million, you know, like I did when I had to learn that my dog had gas, which would have been covered. Those x-rays would have been covered.
That story never gets old, I have to say.
I was so mad that happened before pet insurance kicked in.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, nobody thinks about it or that they need it until it's time. It's go time.
Right.
And so we have a deal for you. Don't wait for the unexpected to happen. Join the massive community of pet owners who trust Embrace Pet Insurance to protect their pet. Head to embracepetinsurance.com/braincandy and sign up for pet insurance today. Make sure you go to embracepetinsurance.com/braincandy or else they won't know I sent you.
It's very important.
I want some credit. I love credit.
Yeah.
And
We love when you
everybody
support the
needs-
show.
We sure do. And so will your freaking pet whenever
And your
it's on
wallet.
death's door or whatever.
We're very happy.
All right, moving on. I am wacky today.
I love it.
Oh, okay, this was fun. You know, since I've been watching so many sports docs, I read a headline that caught my eye. And it was also in the New York Times, and it was a picture of a dartboard, and it was something like, why do athletes keep getting better? Kind of like,
Oh, yeah.
how
yeah.
is that? You know, you always
Yes.
hear like world record, new world record. I mean, sometimes it's doping. I also learned that a lot lately.
But there are sports where it's just pushing it to, like, yeah, people are getting better. Sports are getting better for sure.
They were saying, though, that it's not always that. It's that, and you really don't think about it. A lot of it is just equipment improving.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
Shoes.
Even just shoes.
Yeah, there's a type of running shoe that's out right now that adds a little extra boost and like spring to your run, and they've banned it in some like races and things like that and I remember I was overhearing Eli and some of his friends talking, and one of his friends was like, oh yeah, I got this. And he's like, oh yeah, you're cheating shoes. Oh yeah. And they were like all giving each other a hard time about like, oh yeah, those shoes that you use cheat, those make you go faster. Like, but that's for real a thing.
Well, right. And I guess there is a line, I don't know where it is, where buoyancy or spring acted, whatever, can make it where it crosses into cheating. Okay. But there's lots of stuff that isn't cheating that's allowed. They were using the example of darts, which, you know, I don't think of them as athletes, but that might be a sport I could
Dart
do.
Throwers would beg to differ.
Do you think they get winded and stuff and they have to
No,
rest after?
but I do think that some of them probably do workouts where they say like, oh yeah, this helps with like the rotation, like my rotator cuff. I like to keep that.
They're
like,
probably right,
yeah,
too.
and
but
then
it
they
sounds
probably
funny.
have like a bigger arm on whatever they're throwing, like bowlers. I'm sure that's like a thing, right?
Yeah, and that's the
They
thing.
like, do a little
also,
finger exercise.
that in bowling, like it's sort of boring because they all get strikes after, you know,
Right, it is boring.
because the
I want bowling with obstacles. Like I want mini golf and bowl where you gotta like throw it and there's like I want something like that, or like whack-a-mole thing that comes up and you gotta like time it. we need to up the ante here.
Well, and that's what they're saying is that for just the dart example, it got they were so good that they did have to make they changed the target, I think, or the distance that you're from the board or whatever. And so it's always changing. And so, of course, that's going to affect like what it means to be the best and what your score is and stuff like that. I just really never thought about, I mean, of course, we know that equipment is improving, but there's a lot of sports that you don't think have equipment.
Right. You know, so you got me really excited, like on a sports kick too. And I watched the Shaun White documentaries, like
Where
a
is
4-parter.
this?
Susie. It's so good. It
Where did you
combines
watch
so
it?
many
I'm so
different things.
mad.
Maybe it's on HBO Max. I'll find out for you. I'll look it up. It is.
I mean, I can Google.
Right, you can, but like I don't know. I feel like you do it for me all the time. You know, give me this answer. So
Yeah.
It's so good, and he got such a young start and was so much better so early that it gave him the money to be able to fund different kinds of training. He went and built his own half pipe snowboard half pipe in the back of the mountains in Colorado in some super secret location out like that nobody else could go to, with a big foam pit at the end. And he's like, well, I was like, other people can do this. I was just the first one that thought of it and did it. And there was like a lot of maybe, I don't know, kind of like rivalry, or like that was he was looked at in a certain way.
I kind of hate this story.
It's such an interesting documentary. It's
because it's
so
a
good.
snowball effect. If you get ahead,
Pun not intended or intended.
oh my God, it was so not intended.
Right. And then you said it so confidently. I'm like, we're just not going to talk about that? Yeah, it's a snowball effect.
Literally.
Yeah.
Because if you get this early start,
Yes.
then you win prize money, for example, or you get endorsements or whatever. And then you put that money towards more resources, more training. I mean, this is basically like white privilege, but just in a very good example, a small example.
But then the other things that are happening in a lot of these sports, and what I'm noticing, there are more, it seems like there have been more fatal accidents or really, really, really bad because everything's getting up. Like the height of the vert ramps is going up. The height of they're introducing new snowboarding events. They didn't talk about this in the documentary, but this is just what I also am like seeing, is that they're now doing flips and rotating at a speed that they weren't doing
And do you
before.
think that's because of equipment though too, like the boards?
That things can go faster, they could jump higher, and now like some of the Japanese riders were hitting like 20 plus feet on that vert ramp. There, if they fall, it's over
insane.
a 40-foot fall. If you count the distance of the ramp plus how high they're getting in the air, you're dead if you fall. And like that, they're paralyzed. They're out. They're like, and to me, they're with the X Games. There were like some like X Games are like bikers not biker. What are they called? Like BMX riders that recently died for like, to me, it's like being taken to a level where, yes, can a human do this? Sure. But for safety, should we really be maxing out all of these?
Okay.
Like, I don't know. It to me, I don't know.
I'll tell you what I do know. You have to switch. It's like an emotional.
No, it's really it because I'm like scared for people. But
I love Dipsy stories.
This talk about an emotional swing. That
Right?
you call that a transfer of arousal there, where you got me all like worked up, and now I'm worked up, but in a different kind of way.
Well, who are we kidding? Snowboarding already gets you worked up.
This is true. You know how I'm into powder. I bet I could find a Dipsy story that was like themed like. The snow is falling in the cabin, and this. I know that shit's out there.
Remember, I asked you if you ever saw like a ski instructor one.
Oh, I'm into that.
Yeah, so look that
Do
up.
you need help tightening your bindings?
Oh God. See, I don't even want to know what they're suggesting for her, but that's the beauty of Dipsy, is that it will allow you to take a quiz and you can share what you like, what you're into, and then it will show you examples of things you would enjoy to hear, whether it's sexy stories or just sleepy, drift off to a wonderful slumber type of a story. They have wellness stuff. And so it's fantasies, but also just well-being. Let's be honest. Made for women by women, unlike every other
Right.
you know,
Anything.
sexy thing. Yeah, literally anything.
Literally anything almost.
For listeners of this show, Dipsea is offering an extended 30-day free trial when you go to dipseastories.com/braincandy. That's 30 days of full access for free when you go to DIPSEA stories.com/braincandy, dipseastories.com/braincandy. Well, that you have given me the perfect segue with your discussion just then about like how far should we take this stuff?
Yeah.
Because I watched, maybe you did too, the Netflix documentary, The Deepest Breath.
Oh my God. I don't actually Susie, it's on my list of things to talk to you about too.
Well, how have we waited so
Susie,
long? What is wrong with us?
Susie, first of all,
me.
that opening scene, it starts out where all it is you just see the diver, like it's just one dive. And then
these are called, what's it called? Free diving. Yes.
Where you're diving down as deep as you can to get a tag and then come back up. With
nothing.
Often with no fins, but no,
tank
equipment, nothing pulling you up, no tank, no air. I just was like, okay, let's just see.
Sarah, this is classic Sarah. I could do that.
I was like, oh my God. I was so, like, my mind was so blown. I was home alone and I had to pause it. It was like, oh, I'm going to watch this and then I'm going to talk about it on the podcast or whatever. This was probably like last week or something. I was like, nope, pause. I have to wait for Eli. There's no way. I can't watch this alone. I need somebody else to appreciate how insane this is. And I need somebody to have these reactions with me. I can't take this. This is too crazy. Whoa.
Sarah's having like an interactive experience by herself. But it's true. This was a woman who... They told her story of how she grew up, and for whatever reason, this was her lifelong dream.
No, this is her being addicted to the drugs that your brain gives you when you hold your breath for a long time, and that is what that is.
I mean, truly, watching this film felt like watching a film about addiction.
Yeah, it did. To me, too. And I'm very mad at her.
I'm mad at all of them.
Me, too. I
didn't expect you to be so emotional.
I'm mad.
Really? Tell me.
Because I feel like in a way, it was like, why do you have to do that? Mm-hmm. It was selfish.
It's so dangerous.
It's the most dangerous thing. It's so fucking stupid.
And they know it. That's why they have all these people in the community that like are meant to help you not die when you're probably going to die.
I mean, the amount... It's too much. We shouldn't do this.
I agree.
No. How do you regulate this? How do you tell people don't be fucking dumb? This is the same. If we look at what's happening in their brain, there's no difference between what's happening to them and the people who hang themselves from hooks.
Yeah. No,
that's the same. Mm-hmm. Tell me that's different.
Well,
she's an athlete. No, I'm sorry. You're addicted to the feeling that you get holding your breath and almost dying.
Right. Because the documentary, it seemed like they wanted to have a balance where they acknowledged that this was a feat of athleticism, which is undeniable.
Sure.
And that they have to work very hard and commit all this time and money. I'm like, do they have jobs? Who is paying for this?
Right.
Like that's the part I don't understand, because no sponsors are going to be like, yeah, I want to sponsor this person that's probably going to die next year.
Or they're free diving people who are like...
they all just,
Yeah, that's it. I can't
it's
imagine.
like the Everest thing, but they're going the other direction.
Yeah.
They're going down instead of up. Mm-hmm. Because they said that the arch, the cave one, is more dangerous than Everest.
Yes.
And of course it is.
Yes.
Because there's no air.
Oh my God, that whole story.
Sarah is a hoot. I can't believe. I'm so glad you watched it.
I cried watching it because I'm like, this is not okay. And those poor fucking parents. And
I won't give it away, but there was a moment that I want to know when that moment happened. What was your reaction? Were you stunned?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I
was
mean,
shocking.
stunned, but then also, like, why did we think anything else would happen? Mm-hmm. Oh,
Okay.
God. I love him.
There's a diver that's a man who is the other protagonist of the film. But I love him too, but it was the same with him. He was addicted. He just was doing it in a more responsible way. I love that you're
I'm not
so
crying.
emotional.
I was like, I think I have raccoon eyes for my mascara.
No.
Because I switched out I'm not using my Thrive one because I'm waiting for my new order to come in, and I tried another one, and this is bullshit.
Big mistake.
This is not an ad, but
No,
I just
it's
want
the
you guys to
opposite
know
of an ad.
It's the only time I ever have one. Ugh, never again.
I'm glad you said that though, because that was my impression watching it. I'm like, this feels like a movie about addiction. This is intervention, except without the intervention.
Yeah.
Yeah, because on Brain Candy, I've interviewed a woman who's in that community who wrote a book whose name I can't remember, but she acknowledged in the book like how risky the sport is and how tight the community is because they're constantly going to freaking funerals.
Okay, right. Come on.
And losing members of the community.
What do you, I mean, go ahead. Go do your crazy thing. But like, I don't think we should be
putting them on a pedestal.
Like this should not be on like ESPN. And if it's going to be, then you got to put all the other people there who are, I don't know. It feels not okay.
Well,
now there's the other one about the woman swimming under the ice, and I'm like, I don't want to watch that shit either.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
What is with these people? I know you're saying it's just like brain addiction.
And I also think that this is a unique sport or field where women can dominate.
I like that part.
Yeah, and I could see women, because they are the ones who are the best at this. Yeah. They're going the deepest. They could do it. We have the body fat that can, like, and the way oxygen is stored in the blood is different. It's like, but women are built to withstand this more than men can. And so I could see like these women are like, how often do you get to be number one at anything in the world? Mm-hmm. And that would be enticing for, like, if you were close to that.
Tell me though, this woman.
Yeah.
Where are you saying her income? This is like when we play the game on the challenge. Like, what do they do to pay their rent?
Oh, like
was she just independently wealthy from her family or something?
I mean, some of them kind of seem like that.
They sure did.
They really did seem like. And that guy, he's like going and taking trip. Like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that's what you do with it.
Well, because I think it's what we've said before, that if you have, if things are too comfortable and too cushy, you got, like, that's why they all climb fucking Mount Everest and shit.
Yeah. They have to create suffering.
Yeah.
Wow. I hate it. Oh, I'm trained, Sarah.
Man. Yeah, I'm out of breath from that. Again. Didn't mean to make that pun either.
I can't believe how many documentaries you watched that you weren't going to tell me about.
I have more
that's right.
on my list.
That's right. You do have your own episode.
It's
that you
really
get to do.
like it's been good out there.
Well, that's the thing. I love it. Comes in waves, and I'm always thankful for a good documentary. I guess this is a good time to remind you that we have a candy club where every month we watch a documentary and read a book on a theme.
Yes.
August theme, true crime.
Yes.
Next month is cults.
Yes.
So let's face it, you don't want to miss that.
And can we also say that Susie is a literal expert in this?
I'm a literal expert.
A literal expert. So you have an expert on cults who we get to talk about cults with.
I mean, what more could you ask for?
Yeah, and you listeners get to talk and chat it up with us in these book clubs. They're so fun.
You can go to our website, thebraincandypodcast.com, and sign up. And we have a hoot and holler. I mean, that's for sure.
Both.
Whatever the theme. The theme is hilarity. That's what the theme is.
We like to say, come for the laughter, stay for the laughter.
That's our slogan.
I love it.
And if you want challenge content, reality content, that's patreon.com/braincandy. We'll see you next time, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.